We're back with more Premier League predictions. This time, we're going to be going over the Gameweek 6 matches and predicting them as usual. So the two standout games this week are Arsenal versus Newcastle and also Chelsea versus Brighton. So those should be absolute bangers. Anyway, let's get straight into the video. Brentford versus Manchester United is the first game coming up. Now, this game could be quite a tight one. That's what I think personally, but let's get started with Brentford. Their form has not been the best so far. Last game they lost to Fulham 3-1 was a rough loss. I had a feeling that United might give them a problem in this game. They have got to improve defensively a lot. For being honest, they conceded 10 goals in 5 games already this season, sitting in 17th place, which is not the best, and they really need to come into this game ready to face off against United. Now on to Manchester United. They have not been doing too well as well this season, sitting in 11th place at the moment in the league. Form wise, it has been not too bad. Last game they beat Chelsea 2-1 was a huge surprise. They outplayed Chelsea and that game deserved the win as well, but Bruno being the goal scorer, he is so important to that team in terms of the long balls he makes, the short passes, just overall the creative stuff he does. But my prediction is going to be a 3-1 win for Manchester United. Moving on to Leeds United versus Bournemouth. Now this should be quite the solid game, so let's get started with Leeds. They have started this season not too bad, currently sitting in 12th place in the league. That's decent considering they are a newly promoted team. So last game they played Wolves and they won 3-1. Calvert-Lewin scored his first goal for the club as well. I believe it was his first goal, but he will be a key player in that team. I'm sure he's gonna score at least like 10 to 15 goals this season for them. Now on to Bournemouth. They have started this season very well, actually sitting in 4th place, which is very impressive. They are a underrated team in this year's campaign once again. Like last game they played Newcastle and they drew 0-0. One player that stands out is Semenyo, a very clean and simple footballing side, I would say you could describe Bournemouth as. But my prediction is going to be a 3-2 win for Bournemouth. Moving on to Chelsea versus Brighton. This game is going to be a very good one, so let's get started with Chelsea. They've been doing alright this season, currently sitting in 6th place, which is not the best. The last game they played Manchester United, and as I mentioned before, they lost 2-1. Not exactly the result they wanted to get. Both teams got red cards. Sanchez got sent off early into the game, which kind of put Chelsea at a disadvantage early on, and Palmer has kind of been dropping off in terms of goal involvement recently. He hasn't scored a goal from open play for quite a while. But on to Brighton. They've had a rough start to the season, sitting in 14th place, which is quite crazy. Like last game they played Tottenham and they drew 2-2. And Brighton actually choked a 2-0 lead against Spurs in their last game. Like Minta as usual scoring, and he's always the one to just create the chances and get the goals as well. He's one of their best players. But Brighton, I would say, are always a very good team in terms of just overall playing football. Now my prediction is going to be a 2-2 draw between the two. Moving on to Man City versus Burnley. This game should be going one way, to be fair, so let's get started with Man City. They've been quite underwhelming, for being honest, this season, sitting in 9th place at the moment. Quite crazy seeing them there as well. Like last game they played Arsenal and they drew 1-1. Haaland could not be stopped. Like in transition is just too dangerous. Started off the hold up play, passed it to Reinders, who then was running at Saliba, and right behind him Haaland was making that run. I'm surprised Saliba did not cover it, but yeah, he let Haaland through, and once Haaland's through 1v1 with the keeper, like he's scoring that all day, every day of the week. Pep, for some reason, he decided to play some haram ball when he was 1-0 up. Maybe he was trying to troll a little bit and see if he could win the game in a style with how Arteta plays. Subbed on like 2 or 3 defenders and he just started to defend the game, but we got the draw at the end of the day. But on to Burnley, they seem to not be doing too well this season, sitting in 16th place. It's not exactly the best, but form-wise recently it has been rough for them. Like last game they played Nottingham Forest and they drew 1-1, which is pretty good for a newly promoted side, but Burnley are quite a solid team defensively and in a low block. So my prediction is going to be a 3-1 win for Man City. Moving on to Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. This game could be an exciting one. So let's get started with Crystal Palace. They have been pretty good this season, sitting in 5th place. They remain unbeaten in the league as well. Like last game they played West Ham and they won 2-1. Arteta scoring as usual, as he scores almost every single game. He's a phenomenal striker. Hold the play in behind. He has the pace as well. Just unreal. But this team has been one of the most underrated teams, I think, throughout the past 2 seasons. They just came off winning the FA Cup. Ever since Glasner came into the job, they have just been doing a very, very good job. And they have won like 2 trophies already, which is crazy. On to Liverpool. They have started the season well, sitting in 1st place at the moment, unbeaten, being 5-0 in the season, so 5 wins already. They have had some very close games recently though, like last game against Everton they won 2-1. Gravenberch scoring a goal. Obviously he actually might be one of the best midfielders in the world. Like Ekitike continues to score, but what a addition he has been into the team. He was originally supposed to be like the backup striker because we knew Isak was gonna join them, but now they're kind of alternating a little bit and it's working out well. Ekitike, he just hit the ground running at Liverpool. Fantastic player, fantastic striker, and once this team gels, it's honestly gonna be scary for the league. So I'm waiting for when that time comes. It might be a very scary time. Now my prediction is gonna be a 2-1 win for Liverpool. Moving on to Nottingham Forest versus Sunderland. This game I expect to be tight, so let's get started with Nottingham Forest. It has been a rough start to the season for them, like sitting in 15th place, which is outrageous. Very surprising as well, because the last game they played against Burnley, they drew 1-1. And I'm not sure how Angie, like how his highline type of tactic will work in this team, especially since the team has been playing like a low/mid block for a couple of seasons under Nuno Santos. But it might take some time for them to adapt into this new style of football that Angie wants. He wants the free-flowing kind of attacking side, so probably gotta adapt a little bit. But on to Sunderland, they're actually doing pretty well, I would say, considering they are a newly promoted side. They're sitting in 7th place at the moment, which is very impressive. Last game they played Aston Villa and they drew 1-1, but they gave Villa quite a game while having 28% possession. That's crazy. But Xhaka seems to be very important in that team. I believe he's the captain as well, so very key player. He was a very key player in Arsenal's team when he was there, very key player at Leverkusen's team. Guy's just a leader, honestly. But my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Sunderland. Upset. Moving on to Tottenham versus Wolves. This game could be an interesting one, so let's get started with Tottenham. They've started the season quite well, sitting in 3rd place at the moment. Good start, honestly. Like form wise, they have been here and there a little bit. Like last game they played Brighton and they drew 2-2, but they made a comeback after being 2-0 down. And I heard Xavi Simons was doing very well in that game. I believe he created the chance for that second goal. But honestly, he's a absolute baller and he's still young as well, so loads of potential still and a lot to come for him in the future. Top baller, honestly. But onto Wolves, they've started the season quite horribly, sitting in 20th place, literally dead last in the league. Form wise, it's been horrible as well. Last game they played Leeds and well, they lost 3-1. Wolves, they got many shots off, but also many shots on target off. I believe they had 6 on target, just could not score their chances once again. But a turnaround is needed from Wolves right now if they want to get out of that like 20th place spot. But my prediction is going to be a 3-0 win for Tottenham. Moving on to Aston Villa versus Fulham. This game I see being quite a tight one, so let's get started with Aston Villa. They have started the season quite horribly, for being honest, sitting in 18th place. That is a big surprise. Like last game they played Sunderland, they drew 1-1, and they finally scored a goal in the Premier League. Came from a Matty Cash banger. Well, outside the box he kind of shot it in the middle, but the keeper Rolfs, this guy completely scuffed it. Like the ball was coming at him, just completely parried it into the net, and that was, yeah, basically Aston Villa's first goal was that. I believe Unai Emery could be under pressure if these kind of results continue. It's the first time I've seen this for a while. He's done this at Arsenal when he was there as well. He had a few games where we kept on losing, and I believe he got sacked after that. But on to Fulham. They're doing quite decent in the league, actually sitting in 8th place, which is quite good. Last game they played Brentford and they won 3-1. Iwobi has been a very key player for them in terms of creating chances and chipping in with goals. Very, very important player. But Fulham, I would say they're quite a solid team, a very well-drilled team defensively as well. They kind of play in a mid block, I believe, which kind of works for them, and they hit teams on a counter at times. But my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Fulham. Moving on to Newcastle versus Arsenal. This game's going to be quite a good one, so let's get started with Newcastle. They're doing not the best so far this season, currently sitting in 13th place in the league now. Last game they played Bournemouth and they drew 0-0, which in my opinion is a fairly good result. Like Wolt made, I believe he's going to be a player we have to look out for, because I think just give him a little bit more time and he's going to bang goals, maybe similar to how Isak did after his first season or two. Now on to Arsenal. They're doing quite decent in this season, sitting in 2nd place, but we gotta push for that top spot. Like last game we played Man City and we drew 1-1. Arteta once again starting Marino, Rice and Zubimendi. Like, it just does not work. Why are you starting 3 DMs against Man City? Where's the creativity in that midfield? Like, nothing there. But it was a very interesting one. I feel like we did control the game at times, just did not create enough. As usual, City actually switched into haram ball. Like, literally sat back after the first goal, which we have not seen before from Pep Guardiola. It was probably trolling, if we're being honest. After he went 1-0 up, he wanted to see, most likely, if he could get a win against Arteta, using kind of Arteta's tactics, if you want to say that. But Martinelli, incredible goal over the top from Eze, and Martinelli's there for the run and just chips it over Donnarumma, slots it into the net. Fantastic. That's twice already in back-to-back games that Martinelli scores off the bench. So he has something to prove, and who knows, maybe he could start this game. I would still start Eze, for being honest, but my prediction is going to be a 2-0 win for Arsenal. And the last and final game, we have Everton versus West Ham. This game could be quite a solid one, so let's get started with Everton. They've not been too bad so far, sitting in 10th place, which is decent. Last game they played Liverpool and they lost 2-1, but they did give Liverpool a little bit of a game. Like, Grealish has been one of the standouts in that team. Has been one of the most creative players in that team as well. He won the Player of the Month for September with 4 assists in 3 matches. Great player. I think the move from Man City to Everton really gave him a little bit of freedom on the pitch. And he's one of the most creative players in the Premier League if you give him that freedom. And he's a very key player in that Everton team as well. But this team is more of a balanced team rather than just a very defensively strong team. That's what David Moyes brings to the club when he joined. Now on to West Ham. They've been struggling this season, sitting in 19th place, which is not ideal. Last game they played Crystal Palace and they lost 2-1. Bowen scoring in that game. He always turns up for West Ham. He's hands down West Ham's best player. I'm surprised no other team has gone in and picked up Bowen from West Ham, because his performances every single season have been pretty good. He's literally been carrying this team at times. Now Potter's job could be at risk if the results do continue, but they do need to be more defensively strong because they are conceding quite a bit, but they also gotta score quite a few goals. But Somerville has been very important to this team this season, just with his explosive pace. His dribbling is fantastic as well. A very good young player who signed from Leeds, I believe, last season. Now my prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for Everton. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment down below your predictions for these matches, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.